Patrick Queen comes over. Beautiful contract.
Yeah.
And it had a little bit of an air to it because to me, this dude could have got paid.
He
Seems like he wanted to kind of come home.
And plus he's trying to prove himself still.
Welcome to Six Rings and Counting. I'm your host, Corey Idle, and joining me, as usual, is my man, Lou Willard. Lou, how we doing today?
I'm doing awesome as always.
You ready to get defensive?
You know that. We're going to talk about the Steelers.
We are breaking down the Steelers' 2024 defensive unit. And
I meant defensive because you were going to talk about my Steelers.
I would never.
Bet not.
Sometimes. We have got to start with the signing for the defense.
My man, Patrick Queen.
Mr. Patrick Queen.
And I'm telling you what, Omar Khan can pretty much run for governor of Pennsylvania right now and probably win.
If Tony Khan could run a wrestling outfit like Omar Khan can run a football squad,
WWE would have some competition.
Boy, it'd be a different story over there. Patrick Queen comes over. Beautiful contract.
Yeah.
And it had a little bit of an air to it because to me, this dude could have got paid.
He
Seems like he wanted to kind of come home.
And plus he's trying to prove himself still because he was okay in Baltimore, but he wasn't playing up to what that, because I believe he was a first round pick. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't living up to that, but he was playing well, but not to that. But once they got Roshan beside him, again, from the Bears, if the Bears could just keep players, if they could just keep their own, they might actually do something. But they got a Roshan. All of a sudden, Queen is almost an all-pro. You know what I mean? He's killing it. So now he's coming over here, but he also gets to play with, I'm excited about Quan Alexander coming back. Dude was playing good then, Achilles. Landon Roberts was playing well. Mm-hmm. Bam, ACL. Like, by the time Pittsburgh got to Buffalo, where they stood no chance if all these dudes are healthy anyway, they were down TJ Watt. They were down Quan. They put it like this, they were on their fifth and sixth linebackers.
Oh, yeah. If you haven't seen the current Steelers roster at this point for linebackers, there's about 147 players on that team.
And they'll need 148, so better sign another because everybody keeps getting hurt.
But you brought it up here. You have Queen, Roberts, Alexander, Watt. Is this the best linebacking crew in football right now?
Oh, that's a big statement. I mean, I'd have to look into that because some of these teams are loaded, man. Like, I know the Browns will brown, but that defense is good. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's hard to take away from what they have across the middle. And I would say no. Now that I thought about it real quick, that would be the 49ers. Those two linebackers over there are nasty. Them boys can play. So, and ours can't stay healthy. So you can't possibly give them the nod. And when you factor in, your question is a two-part question because number one, you have to find the other teams that play a 3-4. Mm-hmm. Or 4. This is why the whole comparison of, is Garrett better than Watt or is Watt better than Garrett? It doesn't matter. They don't play the same position. One's a defensive end, one's an outside linebacker. Two different positions, But people don't, I'm not arguing with those people. But the bottom line is Cleveland is good. 49ers are good. Pittsburgh is good if they stay healthy because you got Watt and Highsmith on the outside. Queen will be in the middle with Quan Alexander. And then behind them you have Minka. Oh, man, it's nice. It's looking lovely over this way. I'm so optimistic I'm giddy.
Oh, my goodness. We're going to cut this to a 5-minute show. You keep that up. So we got to bring you down because you're going too high right now.
They can't stop me this offseason.
Want to bet? Let's talk about Cam Hayward and our defensive line. Well, really, our defensive tackles.
There's a million of them on the roster again. Mm-hmm. A lot of them got hurt last year, too. The thing about Cam is you hate to see him go, but he's getting long in the tooth, as they say. He's 35 now, and he's got to get some help. And they do. Like Ogunjobi is good. He's not going anywhere. He's going to play. Mm-hmm. But we need that Montravius Adams to really come into his own. And I would love to see them draft in the 5th or 6th round, maybe even the 4th, the Hall kid from Ohio State.
Yeah.
Because that little dude doesn't stay around the football. That's all he does. Every time you look up, he's around the football. That's what you need. He's not as big as you would like him to be, but he's always around the football. You know, they're going to have to, sound silly to say, but they're going to have to make sure he's blocked. You know, I know that sounds silly being football, but some of these guys, they don't worry about putting a body on them. They just kind of give them a chuck and go on to the next guy. That young man, I don't think he'll come into the league and be a player you can do that with. I think you have to account for him. But if we can find, you know, another run stopper, just big body to stick in that middle, this is where you miss the, you know, the good old-fashioned days of the Steelers with Casey Hampton. The big boy helmet didn't even fit. Just stick him in the middle, ball snap, he lay down. That's the whole middle clogged up. So you can get some of that. You can give Cam a break. I would love to see him be able to take at least one playoff every series, 1 or 2 plays, depending on if there's 3 and out, let him play 1st and 3rd. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So if he can get that break, his body will last longer. But Father Time's undefeated, and he's going to be no different.
Now, somebody I'm eyeballing on this unit is Keanu Benton.
Yeah.
22 years old, 6'3", 309 pounds. That is a beast of a human being.
And he's been playing good ball too. So has Adams. So, but they both got dinged. If they could stay healthy, it'll give, you know, Hayward the breaks that he need, and it also give them breaks too. So, but they're fine in that position with Ogunjobi. Those 4 guys are fine, but 4's not going to be enough. There's not going to be enough in that division because as much as it's a passing league, I get it, and that's a battle. That's a hill I'm going to die on. I'm old-fashioned. I'm running the ball. And in that division, I don't look like I'm alone. The only team that's going to throw it all over the field is the Bengals. Baltimore's running. Yes. Cleveland's running. And speaking of the Cleveland, I hope Chubb can get back. His best back in the league outside of McCaffrey before he got hurt. Dude was he's a beast. That was sad to see him go down like that. But so these teams are going to run at you. And then as much as it's a passing league too, look at the final 4 teams in the conference championship games last year. Baltimore was running it. The Chiefs was running it. Mm-hmm. The Lions, all they want to do is run it. And then the 49ers, all they want to do is run it. So you got to be able to stop it. You want to go to the Super Bowl, I suggest you get some hogs up front and some dogs behind them. And you also going to score a bunch of points. Because the league is becoming fun again. I guess I could say that because I actually have hope again.
Well, I was going to say, your team's looking really good, so that helps.
I'll tell you what, we went in that paper Super Bowl. Right after the draft, it's us. This will be like my 23rd Super Bowl.
That's the most important thing. First it goes paper Super Bowl, then it goes kids wanting to play as your team on Madden, and then it goes over to an actual championship in a ring.
Yeah, because we need another one of those, but I'm getting this paper Super Bowl.
I like it.
I haven't won one of these in a long time, so we're due. We were due for the paper Super Bowl.
Feels
Nobody
good.
ever talked about Pittsburgh in the offseason.
Feels so good.
Now they can't keep them out of their mouth.
You brought up an interesting point, though, when talking about some of the younger guys like Adams and Benton, even rolling into defensive backs like Corey Pierce, TJ Watt, Alexander, Roberts last year. So many injuries.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of where our focus is as Steelers fans is going to be on the defense, rightfully so.
Yeah, it's always going to be that.
But it really doesn't seem like there is that panic that I guess the overall sports media would want you to believe there is on the defensive side of the ball.
What, as far as the injuries go and who's going to replace them?
Yeah, holes the defense. Like Corey Pierce, we're talking the other day about needing somebody to go along with Joey Porter Jr.
Corey Trice.
Yeah. My bad. So you have Corey Trice coming back off of his injury.
Yep.
If he can do that, theoretically, you have your number 2. Cornerback isn't such a concern anymore.
And they traded for Dante Jackson, and then they traded for Elliott to safety. Mm-hmm. And, they got rid of Deontay and brought in Dante. Somebody left a letter out. But at the end of the day, one of these guys will pan out and the other guys will shift to the slot. Mm-hmm. Or you're athletic enough at safety now that they can drop in the slot and they're going to be obviously bigger than the corner so they could get on people's tight ends, which you're going to have to do because whether any of us like it or not, until somebody beat the Chiefs, they are the best team in football until somebody beat them. And I cannot stand the Chiefs are on my last nerves. But nonetheless, you got to put a roster together that can beat them. And with them signing Marquise Brown and Rashid Rice coming on is what I'm hoping Calvin Austin can do for the Steelers. So Pittsburgh's setting herself up defensively, which also helps them to have to play against their offense every day in practice too.
Yes.
Because it's, you the league, it's ones-on-ones. There's no, what you go in and take a couple plays for him, but it's ones-on-one. But yeah, I think they're setting up well to compete. I think they have the body, so when they do come across Cincinnati, they can put that extra corner in and be comfortable with it. They can also throw an extra safety in because Cincinnati signed a nice tight end. I can't call his name right now, but they signed another tight end. That's going to help them out. So you got to be able to play defense against that. Then you got to go and you got to tackle Nick Chubb, and that's not fun. And now the Ravens signed Henry, so now you got to tackle Henry and Lamar. I mean, so you got to have some bodies up there that can take those blows and fill those gaps. So it's going to be really competitive. And it's like we talked before we started recording. It's like you said, the best thing to do is win the division. So hopefully you get a home game. Even if you don't get the bye, you get a home game anyway, because you're going to be so beat up coming out of it. Whoever comes out of it is going to be beat up. So it's going to be a challenge, but I like what they're building on that side of the ball. I really do. They're getting faster. They're really young. And being a Steelers fan, I'm 50. Been a Steelers fan since I can remember. I've stuffed my gear on when I was 3. Every time they out with the old, in with the new, we complain. Who's this young guy? I'm like, man, look, put Rod Wilson back out there. Rod Wilson and Carnell Lake. Let's get them back. They got a game. They got a season left in them. Why you want to give these young guys? Then okay, he can play. Little buddy can stay. You earn the respect out of that city on that football team. And that's why you see some guys they fall out.
So, okay, Corey's coming back. Theoretically, that takes care of a position. You said we're going to move a guy down to the slot, whoever doesn't work out in that other safety position possibly. Let me throw some names at you, though, that are available. Just a couple. And these are younger guys, 30 or younger, not quite washed, but you could get them probably on a discounted deal because of age and how long they've been playing. J.C. Jackson from New England Patriots.
Patriots, yeah.
Adoree Jackson, Avonte Maddox.
Where's he at?
Avonte Maddox was...
If you know off the top of your head.
You asked me way too fast.
But when we go back to Adoree, I think he's done.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bring him in. J.C. Jackson, he probably needs just a change of scenery. I mean, I would view him as a player like Justin Fields, for example. He does need a change of scenery, whether it's Pittsburgh or anywhere else. If they weren't going to keep him, just let him go. Same thing with Kenny Pickett, except he has to quit crying now. But you're gone, the moving truck's there, everything's in Philly, go.
Never going to stop crying.
No, he's going to whine. But J.C. Jackson, I think he has another good year or 2 left in him. But if you're picking him up like you did Patrick Peterson. Maybe not him. He's going to want more than that. But Adoree Jackson will come on a Patrick Peterson deal. But I think he might be done.
And Adoree Jackson's coming over from the Giants. Avonte Maddox was with the Eagles.
Oh, okay. Eagles losing their whole secondary.
Oh, yeah, they're not even trying.
Well, they didn't have it last year either, though.
What about some of the older guys? And I hate to call them old, but...
They're old for football.
They're old for football. Xavier Howard, cut from Miami.
As far as Pittsburgh goes, it's going to be too much money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's not going to – I don't think they're going to consider him. They've got such good deals this far in free agency, they might take a flyer on him, or he might want to come over on a 2-year, $20, $22 million deal, but he's going to want $16, $17 million a year, and right now they can't afford that, but it'd be a good addition to have if he wanted to come out, but he had to take a pay cut. Everybody, and then I think he's on his age?
30.
See, if this is the last contract he get, I'm not taking no pay cut, man. I'm not taking anybody's pay cut. I mean, if it was going to the Chiefs, I would consider it because odds are you're going back to the Super Bowl. Then you have a shot at that ring, but this is his last big contract. But if you can get the money, I will go get it. But if he's just looking to be in a good organization that's solid and going to play to win, he'd have to take a pay cut to come to Pittsburgh. But love to have him.
So if we're going to talk draft with this, we've moved past free agent because we are getting into cap territory here.
Yeah.
played it brilliantly so far, but now we're starting to get dangerously close with that cap. So signing some of these bigger names are going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Which, in turn, you look at the draft.
Yep.
You going cornerback, you going defensive tackle first? Or you going best available at the position?
Yeah, you have to go best available. You have to look at your board. And they know how healthy the corners are that they bought in. Both of them are coming off injuries. They know how healthy they are. We don't know that. Defensive tackle, I think you can buy some time on getting the tackle because I think with the guy I like, I feel like I get him in the 5th round. So you could take, even Nate Wiggins would be available for them in the 1st round out of Clemson. Excuse me. Only reason I wouldn't say take him there is because I just told you in one of the prior shows that we need the center. And if we don't get the center, we need Marius Mims from Georgia. And if he's not there, then you try to tackle from Alabama, Latham. You know, those are one of the 3 I think they should get in the 1st round. And I don't think Wiggins will be there deep enough into the 2nd round, projecting him to go in the 1st. Some mocks have had him going to Pittsburgh in the 1st round. Which, if they did that, it wouldn't break my heart because he's going to be a starter.
Sure.
So, again, it goes back to you passed on the hood to get what? You didn't pass on him. You know what I mean? We've had this conversation. You didn't pass on him. You got a starter. So they have time. It's all going to depend on the health of their players. They know because the players are around. So they know who's healthy, who's not. They know that body of work those players can get. Austin, being Terrell Austin, the defensive coordinator, is a really good coordinator, and he always has them in the right position. And they haven't thrown any bombs out. You know, they got rid of the guy that needed to go, which was, 29, bless his heart. Levi Wallace was just not getting it done. So that kind of put him in a quandary once, Trice got hurt too. But you hate to say best available, but it just all depends on everybody's board. Like you see people, like somebody, like we were talking, somebody said Dunze was their number 1 rated wide receiver.
Right.
Well, you know why he is? Because they don't draft high enough to take Marvin Harrison.
Right. So
when you do, who's my number 1 offensive tackle? I would say Mims, because odds are the other guy going to be gone.
Right.
So if you ask me, who's the best quarterback? Oh, Caleb Williams. Why? Because I'm drafting first. If I'm drafting 5th, man, I really like Jalen Daniels. I might have a shot at him. And guess what? If I don't get him, come to number 5, guess what I'm not drafting? A quarterback.
Moving on.
You move on, you get your whoever rated 2nd, that's who you go get. But different topic, different show. But nonetheless, I would go cornerback if you could get one of the top-tier cornerbacks. Okay. I wouldn't chase one of the safeties because Pittsburgh does not need a safety now. But everybody needs corners because everybody doesn't have hips like me. Everybody can't turn those hips and run with some of the best guys in the league.
That is true. You are a human Ken doll.
Yeah, I'll be ready for training camp this year, too.
I think everybody will be looking very forward to that. What, in your estimation, is the biggest concern on defense? I know we talked about Arthur Smith as far as the offense is concerned.
Yeah.
What scares you about this defense? What could go wrong here?
If you'd asked me a week ago, I'd have said linebacker. And so I'm going to still say strong side linebacker because Queen should play on the offside. So one of those guys coming back has got to stay healthy and has got to make 120 tackles. Especially, I know I keep going back to the same teams, but you're going to play Baltimore twice. You're playing Cleveland twice. I mean, there's an opportunity right there for you to have 40. In 4 games, you should have 40 tackles because they're running the ball and they're running it right at you. So you got to stick and stay in there. Then with Pittsburgh's schedule, they play a lot of other teams that's going to pound the ball too. Mm-hmm. So you got to get at that strong side linebacker. And then the off corner. We know we have JPJ. He's not going anywhere. God willing, everybody stays healthy. Be nice if everybody stay healthy in the whole league and the league be better.
That'd be fun.
But then you get to see who was the best.
My fantasy team would appreciate it.
You're terrible at fantasy football. We can't tell these people.
It's because of injuries.
And lack of draft. Your draft is just bad. But that's the whole. We'll do a show on that. We'll have to do a show on that.
Why you got to cut me, dog?
Just cut you deep.
You're hurting me. You're hurting me, man.
Cut you deep. You'll be all right.
We got to wrap the show up.
All right.
We're cutting the show.
Yeah, but that's where it is. I mean, they'll go D-line.
Yeah.
D-line, corner. But my concerns would be the strong side linebacker and the off corner.
Fair enough. Looking at, I guess, the team overall, offense, defense, special teams, which I know how you feel about kickers in general.
Love them.
Where do you see, in all honesty, this team finishing as is right now? No draft, no nothing else. This unit.
They're another, without seeing everybody else's schedules too, top of my head, they're going to win 10 games. They'll have a winning record. I mean, you can argue that, but when was the last time they hadn't? It'd been at least 18 years. So odds are they're going to have a winning record. There's 9 wins. It would be a 10 and 11, 11 and 16. And that all depends on, what the other teams do, because everybody's trying to win.
Mm-hmm.
And the AFC is loaded. See, like you're young, you're just a baby. But, when our producer's old, he's older than me. So he remembers that in the 90s, all of the good teams were in the NFC. And the AFC was just showing up to Super Bowl to see how bad they would get beat. And now that's kind of flipped the script where you have the 49ers, you got the Eagles. Can the Lions stick and stay? Who knows? But just look at the AFC. Man, it's 16 teams? 9 of them could go to the AFC Championship game. Or 9 of them go to Super Bowl. 9 have a shot to go to Super Bowl. So that's crazy stacked.
And 4 of them come out of our division.
Out of the division.
So that's fun.
Well, at least 3 because Cleveland's going Cleveland. They're not getting any love on this show outside of Nick Chubb.
You're not going to hear me complain. I don't know why you're giving me your Manson lamps. I'm good.
I'm just telling you.
You can blink again. You can blink again.
Ain't going to be none of that Cleveland love going on outside of Nick Chubb.
Okay.
I like Chubb.
Fine. Fine, guy.
No, but it's tough. I mean, so I see him because they're going to play. I know it sounds silly to say, it sounds cliche, but they are going to play for Tomlin.
Yeah.
Or guess what? You're not going to be there. A lot of teams can't say that. They put up with a lot of extra stuff and let guys slack off or let guys sit out. That's just something, Mike has never really done, and guys want to go there and play for him. That's why you're getting some of them that you're getting on the cheap like he did. And the first thing they say, yeah, the organization's great. We wanted to play for Mike. And then it turned out that they do have a solid organization. There's still some of those teams that still do,
Well, Mike has always seemed to be that guy. If you're going to compare him to somebody else, like let's say Bill Belichick, who's had the longevity, same team, same, not the amount of success, but same amount of success, basically.
Yeah.
You got these 2 guys, and you've heard the quote, I'm sure, from Danny Amendola that said, "We work for Bill, but we play for Tommy."
Yeah.
The Steelers has always seemed opposite with Tomlin.
Yeah.
In that regard. Do you think that's what really drives this bus overall, especially on the defensive side? Because that defense really seems to go for Tommy.
Yeah, well, they hired him in. Yeah, they hired him in. I mean, he's a defensive coach. He was a defensive coordinator for the Vikings when they hired him. Mm-hmm. So they were always going to play defense. And then you had that, and he had Dick LeBeau. So he came in and had LeBeau. He come in learning from LeBeau.
Yeah.
So and then you just turn it over to these guys that just they stay and they do really well on that side of the ball. They always have. They set that precedence up in the 70s. Mm-hmm. And the only time their defense took a dip was the 80s. And they still had Hall of Fame guys on those defenses. But they were so bad on offense that you couldn't tell. That was a rough decade. Mark Malone, quarterback, and Bubby Brister.
Don't you mean Magnum P.I.?
Magnum P.I. Without the Ferrari.
Which is just Magnum.
It was just Magnum.
Yeah.
It was just bad. It was just bad. But that defense is always going to show up. But the problem is, I do believe he missed on too many offensive coordinators. And then you had offensive coordinators that, quite frankly, people didn't want to come and play for. Like a lot of guys didn't like Todd Haley. Mm-hmm. Same thing Eric Bieniemy's running into. Mm-hmm. They say he's too matter-of-fact and in your face. Well, then I say quit messing up. I mean, you're getting paid a lot of money. Mm-hmm. You can't handle this guy yelling at you? Quit messing up. This isn't college where you have a limited amount of hours to get prep. You could prep from the time you wake up till you go to sleep. and they're paying you a king's ransom to play a kid's game, I suggest you quit crying because the coach is yelling at you. That doesn't work like that. But they missed too much on that side of the ball, and then the offense fell out, and then that Matt Canada, that everybody has to hit rock bottom, my friend. Mm-hmm. You saw their rock bottom.
Oh, there you heard it here first. Matt Canada is lose rock bottom, change the world. We hate to see you go, but we love to see you leave, and that's a lie. We also love to see you go. For those of you not Matt Canada, I'm Corey Idle, that's Lou Willard, and this was 6 Rings and Counting. See you next time.